In this blog, you'll learn how to define a clear and concise audit objective, scope and criteria. As a result, you'll be able to communicate those to all parties involved in the audit process. So, yes, I've mentioned before, I also have published a guidance standard on practices of effective auditing, worthwhile getting a copy of. It does use these terms, audit objective, even terms like audit scope, you see reflected in ISO management system standards such as 9001 as well. Okay, so what do we mean by the audit objective? It really means what's the purpose, objective, goal for this particular audit. A really simple way to write that or put that together is just express it in plain business language. What are we trying to achieve by doing this audit? What's the aim? What are we doing it for? One little tip, if we're not sure and we happen to be auditing against a particular procedure or work instruction, we'll look at the stated purpose of that procedure. Very often we can turn that into our objective as well. One thing I would say, keep in mind is we are going to communicate our objective, scope and criteria. Most often we communicate that to our auditees ahead of time. So yes, if we're going to do an internal audit, you can define them, get in contact with the team you're going to audit, make sure it makes sense to them. It's important that they understand why you're coming, what you're covering, and what you're auditing against. On our resources page, you can download some examples of a documented objective, scope, criteria as well. By the scope, really important question. The big tip here is be as specific as possible. It's saying, for this audit I'm planning to do in a week's time, where exactly am I meant to start auditing? Where exactly am I meant to stop auditing? Here's a couple of our operational processes, for example. That could be a production, that could be a dispatch process. Am I there to audit both of them? Or alternately, is it just the production process? Or even is it a subset, not the full production process, just those steps there? The other big tip with any of these objective, scope, criteria, if we are not sure what they are, seek some guidance from your compliance manager or someone like that before you start the audit. Again, if we're in an organisation with multiple sites, can't restate it often enough, let's make it as specific as possible. That site's going to have lots of different departments, teams, undertaking lots of different processes. Quite likely we're not there to audit all of those things. Again, you can put some boundaries around your audit by time as well. We might say we're going to come and audit the safety induction processes at this particular site that have been applied over the last 12 months. Fundamentally, this is saying, where do I actually start auditing? Where do I stop? I'll give you a ridiculous example about scope. Australian Defence Force, 50,000 staff, multiple sites. If you sent me out as an auditor and our scope was too broad, Andrew, conduct an audit in defence, you're never going to see me again. It'll take me 50 years to finish it. So yes, we must put some boundaries so auditor and auditees are very clear on what we're covering. The criteria, you can use this word interchangeably with requirements as well. By definition, for an audit, there must be some pre-established criteria or requirement for us to audit against. In a later blog, we'll talk about, well, if that's neatly defined for us in a procedure or work instruction, great. But there can be requirements that we have to audit that are not defined for us in a nice procedure for us to follow. It's not technically an audit if there's no requirements to audit against. And again, I'm not being sent out there to give my opinion on what I think should happen and how that process should be conducted. That's pre-established requirements. I need to get an understanding of them before the audit so that I can conduct that audit effectively. I'll give you one example of that. I do quite a bit of environment and safety work. I've had customers contact me in the past. Andrew, can you come and do an environmental audit? I had one at a ski resort in Victoria not that long ago. First question, that's great, because I'm happy to do that. What am I meant to audit against? There must be some criteria or requirements. And their answer was, I don't know, we want you to come and tell us what you think our environmental impacts are. That's fine, but it's a different tool. It's not an audit process, that's an environmental assessment. Our next one we're going to look at, for our specific audit we've got to do, why we might need an audit plan, and do we always need an audit plan? If you like this video, then hit the like button below. Why not even share it with your friends? Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Appreciate you listening, and keep an eye out for our next video.